Today we will discuss about the stomach. It is the most distendable part or dilatable part of the gastrointestinal system, and it is also called the ventriculus. It is a muscular bag which act as a reservoir for the food and mainly for the digestion of the food. It has a two end. Most upper end, it is called the cardiac end of the stomach, and it is a continuation of the esophagus, and which pierces to the diaphragm and at the T10 vertebra. And another end, it is called the pyloric end. It is the lower end of the stomach. It is called the pyloric end. This is the pyloric end of the stomach, and these are the two end. Upper end, it is called the cardiac end. Lower end, it is called the pyloric end. It has a two border. It is the lesser curvature. It is called the right border of the stomach because it is lies towards the right side. That's why it is called the right border of the stomach. And the greater curvature of the stomach, which is nearly 4 to 5 times more than the lesser curvature, it is called the left border of the stomach. It is called the left border of the stomach. It has a two surface, anterosuperior surface. This is the anterior surface, as well as it look like the superiorly, it lies superiorly, so that's why it is called the anterosuperior surface. And it is called the posteriorly, it is called the posterior-inferior surface. Posteriorly, it is called the posterior-inferior surface. So the shape of the stomach, it is nearly J shape. It is nearly J shape, and it is nearly oblique and slightly oblique, as well as nearly into the obese person. It is horizontal in situations. It lies into the left hypochondrium, into the epigastric, and it is also inside the epigastric, and it also lies inside the umbilical part. So it left hypochondrium, major portion, it is lies into the left hypochondrium, into the epigastric and umbilical part of the it lies into this region. It has a capacity during the infant. It has a birth that is only 30 ml of the capacity. Gradually it increase the capacity of the stomach. Here at the puberty, it is nearly 1000 ml, and into the adult it is the 1.5 liter. It is the capacity of the stomach. The part of the stomach, it is the you have to draw the line at the here. I will show you into the another stomach. I will draw. This is the cardiac end of the stomach, and this is the pyloric end of the stomach. How to differentiate the cardiac and pyloric end of the stomach? Cardiac end, there is it is called the physiological sphincter, while the pyloric end have a thick and it is a muscles developed, so it is called the anatomical sphincter. How the stomach divide? You have to draw the transverse line from the upper end of the cardiac end of the stomach, and this part, it is called the fundus of the stomach. Majority during the mostly it is fill up with the air. Maximum it is 50 ml of the air which is lies inside the fundus of the stomach. The another part of the, it is the incisura. Another end, it is the incisura angularis. From the cardiac end, in between this part, it is called the body of the stomach, and this is the pyloric antrum, and this is the pylorus. So there are four parts. Above to the cardiac end, it is fundus. Above to the cardiac end, it is called the fundus. Between the cardiac end to the incisura angularis, there is, this part, it is called the body of the stomach. From the incisura angularis to the pyloric sphincter, it is called the pyloric antrum, and this is the pyloric sphincter. It is called the thick. It is a pyloric part of the body, and there is a presence of the prepyloric vein. So I will show you inside the body. Here, this is the esophagus, and this is the cardiac end of the stomach. And here there is a bulging of the stomach. It is called the fundus of the stomach. We have to draw the line above it. It is called the fundus of the stomach. Here you can see this is the incisura angularis, and this part, it is called the body of the stomach. This is called the pyloric antrum. Here there is a prepyloric vein presence, and this is the pyloric sphincter, and that it becomes continues as a first part of the duodenum and then second part of the duodenum. So up to here this is the stomach. Normally this cardiac orifice which is covered by the left lobe of the liver, but I will just elevate the left lobe of the liver for the conveniency. It is situated 2.5 centimeter left of the midlines, midplane, and it is into the 7th costal cartilage. Here we have removed the costal cartilage, thoracic cage we have removed. So it is at the level of the 7th costal cartilage, and on the posterior aspect it is at the level of the T11 vertebra, at the thoracis 11 vertebra, and it is 10 centimeter deep to the anti-abdominal wall. It is nearly 10 centimeter deep to the anti-abdominal wall. So it is the cardiac end of the stomach. The pyloric end of the stomach, which is 1.25 centimeter on the right side, just right of the midlines. It is the situation of the pyloric end of the stomach, and it is the level of the L1 vertebra. It is lies at the L1 vertebra, and so it provides the stomach vertebra and provided. So L1 level, which is provided at the when the stomach is empty and in supine condition. So it is the pyloric end. It is 1.25 centimeter on the right side of the midline, and at the L1 level whenever there is a stomach which is empty and supine position. So this is about to the futures. Here you can see this is the right border, or also, it is also called the lesser curvature. It is the attachment of the lesser omentum from the piscer ligamentum venosus to the lesser curvature of the stomach and first part of the duodenum. There is a fold of peritoneum. It is a lesser omentum which is attached. On the greater curvature, there is a attachment of the greater omentum. Here I will show you. This is the greater omentum which is attached to the greater curvature of the stomach. So the anterosuperior surface, which is related with the directly with the left lobe of the liver, mainly it is related with the on the right side by the left lobe of the liver and quadrate lobe of the liver. On the upper and outer sides, it is related with the upper and left side. This is the upper and left side which is related with the diaphragm. Here it is a reflection of the stomach, and it is the upper and left side, it is reflected with the diaphragm. And on the upper and right side here, this part of the stomach which is not covered by the lobe of the liver, it is related with the 6 to 9 intercostal spaces, and it is also related with the left lung, left pleura, and left lung and left pleura. So it is related with the left base of the left lung and left pleura. It is related with the 6 to 9 intercostal space, and there is a one triangle which is formed here. This is the transverse colon. This is the lower border of the liver, and here we have already removed. It is a costal here this portion we have to consider as a costal margin. Here there is a opposite side of the costal margin. It is a costal subcostal triangle. So here on the left side it is it is a stomach which is directly contact with the anti-abdominal wall. It is left by the left subcostal margin, and above it is by the lower border of the left lobe, and below it is by the transverse colon. And this area which is directly contact with the anti-abdominal walls. So these are the relation of the anterosuperior surface of the stomach. Small portion of the middle part which is directly contact with it is called the gastric triangle. Above it is bounded by the inferior border of the liver, laterally by the costal margin and below by the transverse colon. This portion of the stomach which is directly contact with the anti-abdominal wall. The pyloric part which is directly related with the quadrate lobe, and there is a left lobe of the liver. It is related with the left lobe of liver and quadrate lobe. Here this portion which is come out outside, which is related with the 6 to 9 costal cartilage, also portion of the pleura and left lung, and here it is related with the diaphragm. So anterosuperior surface, which are relation, this is a relation of the anterosuperior surface. We will also discuss about the Trop signs. Trop signs, which is the this portion of the stomach which is overlapped by the lungs. So here what happened, it is a topographically area overlying the fundus of stomach, which is by the tympanic percussion. Why it happens? Because the above it is the lower border of the there is a lower border of the left lung, it is the upper boundary. Here there is a lower border of the left lung. Below it is bounded by the costal margin. This is the costal margin. Below it is bounded by the costal margin. Right by the inferior border of the liver, left lobe of the liver, and left side it is bounded by the lateral end of the stomach, lateral end of the spleen. This is the lateral end of the spleen. So this is the Trop signs. Above it is bounded by the lower end of the lung, lower margin of the lung. Above it is by the lower border of the right by the lower border of the left lobe of the liver, inferior border of the liver. Below it is bounded by the costal margin, and on the left by the spleen. So this is the Trop sign, which is the percussions, Trop space, which is there is a percussion by the tympanic percussion you can hear. So this is about to the Trop space. Postero-inferior surface of the stomach, which is over the lacers. In between there is a structure which forming the stomach bed. In between there is a lacer sac. It is a potential space. Mainly it contains the left crus of the diaphragm. Here I will show you. This is a left crus of the diaphragm. This is a left crus of the diaphragm which lies posteriorly. The left suprarenal gland. This is a left suprarenal gland. Left kidney, anterior surface of the left kidney. Also there is a presence of the upper surface of the pancreas. There is a presence of the splenic vessels. Here you can see this is a splenic vessels, splenic artery and vein, anterior surface of the pancreas, and anterior layer of the transverse mesocolon. So these are the structure which are forming the stomach bed. Mainly you have to remember, in between the structure forming the stomach bed, there is a presence of the potential space. It is called the lacer sac. It is a splenic extension of the lacer sac. So the structure lies posterior to it. Stomach bed are the part of the spleen. Part of the spleen. It is the splenic impression of the stomach. Also there is a anterior surface of the pancreas, splenic vessels. There is a left kidney. Here you can see this is a left kidney, left suprarenal gland, left crus of the diaphragm, and there is a left splenic vein behind to the pancreas. All this relation lies on the postero-inferior surface of the stomach. Postero-inferior surface of the stomach. Now supply to the stomach by the sympathetic by the preganglionic fiber from the T6 to T9 or T10 up to, and parasympathetic by the vagus. Now main function of the stomach, it is a reservoir of the food. It soften the food and mix the food with the gastric juice and digestion of the food. It also secrete the HCl which destroy the many organisms present inside the food and drinks. And there is a mucus which protect the gastric mucosa against the corrosive action of the hydrochloric HCl secretion. So it makes the chyle and it digests and makes the food. It is the main function of the stomach. And there are cells inside the stomach are the parietal cells, which is mainly present inside the body of the stomach, which produce HCl. Chief cells, or it is called the zymogenic cells, which produce the pepsinogen 1 and 2, or it is secreted by the pepsinogen 1 and 2, which is secreted. Endocrine cells, which is present at the gastric antrum, and G cells, which secrete the gastrin, and somatostatin producing D cells throughout the stomach, peptides and neuropeptides, which is secreted. So mainly you have to remember the main clinical anatomy. It is the inflammation of the stomach. It is called the gastritis. It may be erosive gastritis. It may be stress-induced gastritis. It may be H. pylori induced gastritis or reflux gastritis, or it may be autoimmune gastritis. Sometimes there is a there is a gastric ulcer, mainly the stress-induced, or it may be consumption of the chronic alcohol. It lead to the gastric ulcer. There is a gastric carcinoma, leather bottle stomach which convert into the look like the leather, so it is called the leather bottle stomach. It is the gastric carcinoma. Or sometimes there is a hourglass stomach. Whenever there is a chronic ulcer, normally the ulcer which is lies at the common site for the ulcer, it is the lesser curvature of the stomach. At that time, stomach which divide into the two part, and it is a hourglass stomach, because it lead to there is a fibrosis, or and stomach divide into the two part. It is called the hourglass stomach. It is called the due to the post healing of the fibrosis of the gastric ulcer or chronic ulcer lead to there is a hourglass of the stomach. Sometimes there is a pyloric stenosis. It is a congenital anomaly, and it lead to there is a baby will suddenly vomiting huge amount of the food, vomiting after the birth of the second or third, fourth day. There is a it is lead to there is a pyloric stenosis. There is a visualization of the stomach from the mouth to introduce the scope from the mouth, and you can see the internal structure of the stomach. It is called the endoscopy. When we can identify there is a ulcer, or we can take the biopsy to differentiate it is the common non-malignant or malignant ulcer. So this kind of the all these things we can. This is the clinical anatomy of the stomach. So trichobazor, when it is a psychiatric condition, psychological condition, where the person which taking the hair from the mouth and it is collected inside the stomach, it is called the trichobazor. When the person collected the vegetable inside the stomach, it is called the phytobazor. So, and sometimes there is a volvulus of the stomach, there is a twisting of the stomach. It is an emergency. It is called the volvulus of the stomach. So these are the common diseases which are occur inside stomach. Mainly the gastritis and gastric ulcer are the common occurs. And there is a, whenever there is a gastric carcinoma, there is a gastric carcinoma. There is a so these are the clinical anatomy of the stomach. And the blood supply of the stomach we already discussed in previous lecture, but it is formed by this is the left gastric artery. It is a branch of celiac trunk at the upper border of the lesser curvature, and directly from the this is the right gastric artery. It is a branch of the common hepatic, and it is the from the lower border of the lesser curvature. So at the lesser curvature, right gastric artery and the left gastric artery. Left gastric artery, it is a directly branch of the celiac trunk, and the right gastric artery, it is the branch of the proper hepatic artery. It is a branch of the proper hepatic artery. At the greater curvature of the stomach, there is a this common hepatic. It gives the gastroduodenal branch. This gastroduodenal, which divide into the two terminal branches. On the left side, it is called at the greater curvature of the stomach, it is called the right gastroepiploic artery, and this is the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery. So right gastroepiploic artery, and another branch which is the arise on the greater curvature of the stomach at the level of the fundus of the stomach. This artery, it is called this is the artery which arises from the splenic artery. It is the left gastroepiploic artery. This is the left gastroepiploic artery. So this is the left gastroepiploic artery which is at the greater curvature of the stomach, and this left gastroepiploic artery communicated with the right gastroepiploic artery. So at the greater curvature, there is a left gastroepiploic which is coming from the splenic artery. It is the splenic. Again, it is a branch of the celiac trunk. Again, it is a branch of the celiac trunk. So celiac trunk basically gives the three branches. This is the splenic, this is the left gastric, and this is a common hepatic. So at the greater curvature of the stomach, the blood supply from the right gastroepiploic and left gastroepiploic. Right gastroepiploic, it is a branch of gastroduodenal, and left gastroepiploic, it is a branch of the splenic artery. At the lesser curvature, there is a directly branch from the celiac trunk. At the upper border of the lesser curvature, it is the left gastric artery. At the lower curvature, it is the branch of the hepatic artery. It is the right gastric artery. So this is the main blood supply of the stomach, and the venous drainage are the same as the same name of the artery as the same vein, and it is drained into the portal blood system ultimately. So this is about to the stomach. Hope you enjoy the lecture of the stomach. Thank you.